Where?
Here.
We're here.
Reset.
Metroid 4, aka Metroid Fusion. 2002, the same year that Prime came out.
Yeah.
So
very good game.
Same year that Tom Brady won his first World Series. Yup.
Yep.
But
Story.
Super Bowl.
So
Very good.
this one has a story. More of a story than the other ones.
Whoa.
I'm into it already.
What's that?
Oh, isn't this sequence like
What is that?
kind of long?
Question of the part.
Oh.
It's a couple minutes.
Question of the part. What's your favorite type of apple?
What?
folks?
What?
No!
That was me.
Oh. Lol. But anyway, my favorite apple is the red kind. Red Delicious? Is that what it's called? Or is it
Yeah,
yellow?
those are the most generic.
Red Delicious, but I don't think that's Red Delicious.
I like the Macintosh.
What color are those?
Those are like...
Just red.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know which kind this is.
I
Like,
thought
so when I go
Macintosh
back to Green Dragon, what am I gonna do?
When I worked at Wise, I had a lot of Macintosh apples, and I like them. They're sweet.
What
I
is
like that in an apple.
Here's something interesting, Ben. Very specifically interesting.
Yes.
I like apples a lot. I dislike apple juice.
Whoa.
I know I'm a special snowflake.
Apple juice is pretty sweet.
Dude, I try so hard for Ferris to find, like, juices that aren't, like, pure sugar, and it's not really a thing. Unless you do, like, V8.
So what's happening right now is Sam has gotten infected by a life form called X, and it's destroying her, pretty much.
That feel.
Depression sets in.
Wait, so since large portions of her suit had to be, like, removed, is she, like, the suit? Or can she just take it off?
I'm pretty sure the suit has some sort of connection to her nervous system when it's on. So when she got infected, it also infected her nervous system. So it was two.
Is that kind of like Gordon Freeman?
That is not at all like Morgan Freeman.
No,
No.
he just wears a suit.
Wasn't sure.
Yeah, actually, no, you can. She can take the suit off. You just have to beat the game fast enough.
I mean, the suit does some crazy stuff.
Is that canon though, Ben? Is it canon that she takes her suit off?
You know,
What is
I'm
it?
not sure. Is this game canon? It is.
So they just injected her with a Metroid serum, which is the natural enemy of the X, I guess. So now she's part Metroid. Yay!
And is this before or after Metroid Prime, canonically?
Metroid Prime is not canon technically.
Ooh.
So is this the furthest game in the series?
This is the
time it
furthest
was?
game.
This is
Oh.
chronologically the latest.
I think it works just Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Other M, and then Fusion.
Whoa. You're gonna tell me Other M is canon and Prime isn't?
Dude, even though Other M is a horrible game, Sakamoto made the series and he can decide the canon.
Yeah, I guess that is completely true.
I really like the story of the Prime series, and I think they should be considered canon because it wouldn't be hard to, but he said it's not. Story. It's mostly over.
You know the reason you play Metroid?
Story.
So there's one big flaw in this game. I really do like this game. It has really mixed opinions, but it does have one huge flaw, and it's pretty much this computer telling you what to do constantly.
I thought Metroid Fusion was really well considered, like...
No, Fusion's very mixed in opinion. I think it's really good, though.
Is it Zero Mission everyone loves then?
Zero Mission is considered pretty good. People like Super the best.
Right.
So, it happens all the time.
Does it just pop up and show you things?
Yeah.
Those end rooms are navigation rooms. Pretty much every time you go in between one, you have to stop.
Oh.
I remember at least one fixed plot point where you can't even like advance the text like quickly. It's like a super slow
Whoa.
text speed.
You can.
And
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
really annoyed me. It's like when you start up Final Fantasy Tactics and you have to sit through little money.
Yeah, the beginning of this game is super slow. Up until you really investigate all the 6 sectors, it's not too fast. Anyway, Brandon noticed it already. The big thing that they add in this game is ledge grabbing, which doesn't sound like much, but it's actually very interesting how they used it in level design.
Oh, it's a good mechanic.
It's one of my favorite mechanics. Now the weird thing is that this game,
Oh.
you can absorb them now for energy.
Oh.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, this is considered like a rebirth in Metroid, but to be honest, the power-ups, there really isn't too many that are added. I can only think of one actual item, and then some just level design differences. So it's a little interesting.
Whoa. Oh.
Look at that thing.
Dare I say the graphics?
Whoa.
Is this flash processing?
This is 32-bit system.
So, like, you can absorb the X parasite and get the energy.
Yeah.
So
The X parasite can appear pretty much anywhere and become things it's cloned before. So there will be a lot of times when it'll just show up, it'll spawn an enemy, and then when you kill it, you absorb it. So that's a big difference.
So, could the X parasite clone Samus?
No.
Do you like that?
Are you silly, dude?
I think I am.
Um.
Savings for babies.
So one thing that it did say was that it needs to be kept out of the breeding environments, and I think that it's not going to get there. I think you're going to be able to keep it out of the breeding environments.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, you go in there, you kill them, and then you're done.
That's the game.
That's why people don't like this game. It's just like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. Specifically said, this is final Samus.
Could you imagine? I want to make the ultimate game that like sets up this amazing story that you're like, I can't wait. Oh my god, all this stuff's gonna go wrong.
Like a half an hour intro.
Yeah, and then you're just like, you need to get out of here in time, or else all these Metroids get away. And then you do it in time, and it's like, excellent job. The end.
So this is something they added.
Words.
Words. But I guess they're talking about like some mission she did before where she served under this commanding officer named Adam. And if anyone ever played Other M, they say Adam constantly. I didn't need to do that.
Oh, that was
I gotta say, I
missiles.
hate the backstory. I don't like the idea of Samus serving under a commanding officer.
Yeah, I mean, during the beginning, she said she doesn't like serving under people, but she did it before, and then she's like, Adam. Which is, I guess, the story
Do you
of
just want
Other M.
Samus to be like a rogue? Is that what you want in your life, Ben?
Well, she's a bounty hunter.
Sometimes bounty hunters have to work under larger bounty hunters. That's how you get started out in that crazy business of bounty hunting.
Well, I don't know. I just kind of imagine like a Boba Fett type of deal where you just kind of take contracts. And
Whom?
Jango Fett.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. I didn't quite get that. I forgot. I literally forgot Jango Fett exists. Woo, boy.
Oh, that was very clear.
Yeah. This game isn't as obscure in its puzzles than Super Metroid. It makes, a lot of times, it makes it a lot more obvious.
Are the green ones different than the yellow
Yeah,
ones?
they give you missiles.
Oh.
So besides Trev, is anyone familiar with this game in the least?
No.
Oh, it was actually my introduction to Metroid.
Yeah, this is my first Metroid game, too.
So you played it, Ben?
I played it. I 100%ed it.
Oh, okay.
I had a lot, but I haven't played it since.
So let's.
You actually 100%ed it? I'm
I believe
surprised.
so.
There's some very specific things.
So
Yeah, I remember
for
you
me and
telling me about
Brandon.
it earlier.
For me and Brandon,
This is no experience.
no experience. I think for being a 2002 Game Boy Advance game, the graphics are great.
Looking good.
It does look great.
The sound's good. I can't speak for the controls, but I'm assuming they're good.
Yeah, the controls are much more simplified, which is good and bad.
You only had those 4 buttons to work with.
Yep. And there's no, like, Super Metroid had a run button, which had like an inertia like variable to it. This one is very standardized in its velocity. You jump, you go to same speed.
Trevor was explaining beforehand about power-ups and how they're like linear and stuff.
Yeah, this is a very linear game.
Well, don't all the Metroid games end up kind of being like that? I mean,
Yeah, but this one, non-linearity doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want, get to Mother Brain in 1 second. But it can also mean you can get power-ups the way you want it to, but in this game it doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, it kind of like actively discourages
Like, you can't get...
sequence breaking.
You cannot sequence break in this game without major problems.
you know what? That's one of those really tough things.
Music.
Oh, son of a gun! They got in the breeding environment.
Oh, dang it. It's like...
When you have a game like this that is set up in a way that you would think is nonlinear, it's really difficult to make it that you could like choose those different abilities you get without making like game breaking. You know what I mean? So like, you have to set up in such a specific way. If you're like, okay, you can go whatever direction you want, but also it won't break the game. Is like really hard.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to everything. Non-linearity has its pros, linearity has its pros.
Ooh.
So linearity lets you do...
Oh, hey, remember that thing I said earlier?
Brandon.
Ah!
Whoa!
Boy,
Oh,
she
and
seemed powerful.
It's
Whoa.
a super strong.
Why don't
Sammy,
Armistice
too.
do that?
Heck.
So this game, a very cool thing that they added was that pretty much your most powered up self from Super Metroid is hunting you the entire game, which is... I think of this game sort of as a horror game in a way, because there's an enemy against you that you cannot defeat until the very end of the game.
Now,
You're in an isolated area in a spaceship. It's sort of a horror game.
I assume the answer is no, but is there any way you ever see the other Samus just normally? Like, not in a pre-scripted thing?
It is scripted every time.
Okay. That would make it, to me, officially a horror game, but this one definitely has horror elements.
Like, this game is not scary. I mean, if you see the Samus X, sometimes it's scary, but it is scripted.
If it had that, like, clock tower type thing where that Samus could just appear, wherever, that would be cool. But it could also be game-breaking, too, in a game like this. Like, could you imagine? Like, Clock Tower, it's almost game-breaking when, like, Scissorman will just appear whenever he wants to, you know? So, like, that kind of thing would be kind of crazy.
This is the breeding thing.
It's warm and moist, dude.
Yeah, there's 5 of these things that the X get into the breeding areas.
I do like that each breeding environment has like a different gimmick. I mean, they're not all just like, oh, this is SRX or like they all have different environments, but like the gameplay is impacted by that too. It's not just like, oh, this has a different tile set. Like here we have the fans.
Yeah,
that's
in
cool.
the future we'll have other
Don't
unique
say-
issues that we'll have to deal with. And that was the part that I really liked about the game.
and there will be some points that I show out that Metroid Fusion was extremely good at level design. It had some of the best like level design that I can think of in like a 2D platformer, teaching you things without words, which is funny because the game is all about words.
I mean, as far as a Metroid game goes.
Yeah.
Lava.
Like, when we get the speed booster in about, like, probably 15 minutes, it's, like, one of my favorite parts of the game. It's so simple, but it teaches you how the speed booster works without any words at all. I really like it.
Because there's like the
This looks like a very similar room.
to get to the next place, you need to like use it, or else you can't go anywhere. I
Right.
guess. Trial by fire.
And another thing they added were these ladders.
I like them.
So I'm trying to be, I guess I'm trying to be a little bit more positive and game critic to this game because I think this game gets a lot of flack that it doesn't deserve. Mostly because other M.
Dead.
Also, this game has a lot more item pickups than Super did. I think Super has like 60 or 70, and this one has like almost 100.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot.
Like, very soon, like I swear in like 15 minutes I'll have almost 100 missiles.
Space pirates.
You thought you were done with these guys?
No.
No way. So they're everywhere.
And this time, they have the excuse of having the X mimic them.
Yeah. So they're really already dead.
Yeah, so this area is based off Metroid 2. It's called SR388. And pretty much everything from that game is being breeded here, so the X are mimicking everything in this area.
Oh, it's worth noting too that like you can't absorb like every X. Like some like that wasn't like flashing white. Like if it's flashing white, it just immediately transforms into something else. Like even if you touch it, you don't absorb it.
This music.
Whoa.
This is mansion basement levels of Resident Evil. Like that music right there.
Oh, that music's cool. Are you saying that music's bad?
Was I ever saying that mansion basement was bad?
Oh, you can charge your beam now.
Yeah, and it's actually different. Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
So,
yeah, you just your regular ones.
So the way that power-ups work in this game is a little bit different than the other Metroid games, which are just... The other games were just like random pickups you find just laying around. In this one, it's mostly like beating bosses. And then there's also military technology that you go into data rooms for. So it's a little bit different this time as well.
I'm glad there aren't as many data rooms as the first area.
Oh
It's
no.
like, whoa, I mean, it is the beginning, so obviously
Yeah.
they're gonna have...
Once you... There's always a navigation room in the beginning of the sector, but after it briefs you what to do, it pretty much lets you do whatever you want. Just the first area, there's like a million of them.
God, I forgot how good this game is. It looks great.
I'm just gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna turn on desync.
I need the frames.
Hopefully that helps the jitteriness.
Does this game end up being longer, same length as Super Metroid?
As a game, I would say it's shorter as Super Metroid, but because of the story and the forced dialogue elements, it's longer than Super Metroid.
Gotcha. I can't wait to see whatever crazy plot twist they throw. Like, remember that thing in Super Metroid, Brandon, at the end?
Yeah!
Hey, for you guys who aren't familiar, why don't you check out Trevor's playthrough? It's on the page.
On the page.
It's probably even to the right of where you're looking right now. It probably says, related videos, Super Metroid, Part 1,
Plug it.
played by Trevor.
Sector 2.
So, I'm guessing you wouldn't skip this, or you would skip this if you could. You literally have to go to it.
What do you mean?
Like, to the navigational computers.
No, you can't skip it.
Yeah, the doors lock themselves.
I wish...
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, that's a thing then.
I really wish there was a new Game Plus mode where you can just skip it all, but...
Adam.
This backstory sucks.
Is this the start of making Samus a crappy character?
This game, she's
I
still
believe
fine.
it is.
I was sort of explaining to Brandon why this game, I like it, but it's also very flawed. And basically the flaws are the story. It just doesn't need to exist.
Isn't it amazing how, like, games overall could use more, like, nice, strong, like, female characters, and Samus was always, without having to say anything badass, because she just was badass, you know what I mean? But then they, like, these last two games, they, like... like this, it seems like they're kind of putting her towards that level of, like, here are my, like, complicated feelings. And then, of course, Other M makes it, like, her a crybaby, essentially. It's like something no one ever asked for when they were like, what would be the perfect Metroid game?
Yeah. The way that I was explaining it to Brandon, I think I summed it up pretty well. This game has flaws, but I think the flaws are not, like, enough to not enjoy the game. But Other M takes the flaws of Fusion and make them 10 times worse. So, and that's why Other M is bad.
I think I would be happy to go my entire life without seeing or playing Other M ever. Just based on what everyone said.
I mean, it was
it's worth playing. I don't know.
I would be mad at the story if I was a huge Metroid fan, just because, like, I mean, the entire game is, like, Samus, like, kind of going nuts and whining, essentially, from everything I've seen. And it's like, you don't want to see one of your favorite characters be made into that, you know?
Yeah.
Especially someone so cool. It'd be like if they made, well, it would be like if you were like, Boba Fett's so cool, and they were like, did you know he's a clone of this loser? And you're like, well, I didn't ever want to know that. Like,
I'm glad the prequels never, like, mess with, like, the good characters of the prequel, other than, like, Darth Vader.
I was gonna say the main character. Yeah, I mean, most of the other ones just die off. There's only a couple characters remaining for the whatever, but I guess it's just one of those cases where you answer a question that no one wants answered. What's Samus really thinking? Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, I would be okay with... like, I'm not opposed to the idea of a Samus backstory, just I don't like the one they gave her.
Yeah, right,
Because
right,
it's
right.
inconsistent with my idea of Samus. Like, it doesn't... To me, it doesn't make her any, like, more complex or have more depth. It just makes me more annoyed at her.
I will say that this game, she is still fine. I really don't see that sort of, like, neediness that Other M created in this game at all. I think it's mostly just Other M.
I remember when I played this first. I was about 14, I think, and this room just annoyed me. I think I could not figure out how to get out or something.
Yeah, there's some times when it's not, like, super obvious, I guess.
Yep, I don't actually, I'm not sure if it was this room or not, but I remember there was a room in this specific sector that just killed me. I think I had to look on game facts.
Is there a particular reason, just besides, like, lol Nintendo, that they don't like making Metroid games? Like, is it the creator, or...?
Okay, Metroid is a weird series that the Prime games are obviously not made by the original creator, Sakamoto. And pretty much after Other M came out and people hated it so much, Sakamoto said he's done with Metroid. So if they're ever going to make another Metroid game, it has to be done by another studio like Retro. But, I don't know.
So... But, alright, so you said after Other M, which came out, like, several years after this. What was the reasoning, like, for, like, not, like, coming out with them so sparingly? Like...
Well, Retro made the trilogy of the Prime games, and then they moved on to the Donkey Kong games, and then Sakamoto said that he's done with Metroid, and they didn't really have anyone else to make Metroid games.
Gotcha.
That's what I think, anyway.
Oh.
I mean, they did just announce that Federation Forces game that's pretty much a shovelware.
Good. Looks like a game everyone wants.
Everyone was clamoring for chibi Metroid.
Multiplayer, mission-based, shovelware.
Multiplayer.
Yay. Thanks, Nintendo.
Thank you, base Nintendo.
And I already don't really like the like gameplay of the Prime games. I think they're fine, but I like the 2D games better. And then you take a game, and you somehow make Prime Hunters, but make it worse. Bravo.
Brava!